Alright, I've tried writing this video 4 times now, and I'm losing my temper because I really want to talk about this, but I don't know how. So I'm just gonna blurt everything onto a Google Doc, and just make the goddamn video. And if you can't tell, I'm a bit ill, because I have the COVID, and I'm fine, by the way, if any of you ask. Anyway, here we go. Good evening, I'm Huel, and I played Scorn. Scorn is a weird game for many reasons. Reason number 1, the finger thing. Number 2, players can't make their minds up about it. Number 3, the developers had way too much faith in players to have patience for the kind of game Scorn is. And number 4, eroticism and death. Some spicy topics. Plus, I've just been obsessed with this game. Like, I don't even know why. You know when you play a game and you feel a whoa, you know? Like, last couple of games that did that for me were like Jedi Fallen Order and Red Dead 2. But there's a difference for me, a big difference. Because, you know, I have a burning, passionate hatred of horror games. I'm not exaggerating. It's partly repetition, and jump scares, and, you know, and adrenaline rushes. And you know what Scorn doesn't do? It doesn't do that. It doesn't do either of them. It's called an atmospheric horror for a reason. It's dense with the stuff. The weight pushes down on my hands while I play it. It's thick. It's delicious. It's fleshy. All right, let's start with first things third. No, first things first. The finger thing, and what I mean by the finger thing is generally how disgusting the game is. Not just the gory and the visual body horror present, but also the moral quandaries. Yes, there's plenty of blood, body parts, guts, babies and pneumatic presses. So the reason why I call it the finger thing, and the reason why that just represents how like disgusting the game is because when he puts his like 4 fingers into these 4 little holes, it's like each individually just goes into these little tiny little orifices. It's like. It's disgusting. I hate it. Anyway. The finger thing. Especially the finger thing. But also your actions. Anyway, right. So the pretty horrible things you have to do to succeed. Number 1, what you do about the mold man. The first real puzzle gives you 2 options that you're not aware you're making. You take this weird egg and you put it in a machine. In that egg is mold man. And you need that thing. You need him. Not the egg though, his hand. Like I said, 2 options. You don't know you have them. When you try it the first time, you can either kill him and take the severed arm, or free him and he walks about with you. Rather pathetically, mind you. I imagine if you haven't played Scorn or not know much about the first-person Biopunk survival horror adventure video game developed by Serbian developer Ebb Software, your answer would be to spare him. But this world is pretty horrible. It is extremely unforgiving, and its inhabitants even less so. So what's the alternative? The alternative is this. Squish, crush, arm, scoop into the hole.
Nice.
Either way, there isn't much of a happy ending for this fella. Either get crushed to death by the forbidden gelato scoop, or entombed here for the rest of his life. Like, I do feel sorry for him, because it doesn't matter what I do with him, he seems to be born to suffer. As soon as he gets out of his shell, he is used. As soon as I scoop him out, he immediately dies. And we get what we need. The only use for him is his hand, and that sucks. Next one is this big old thing. You have to tear its flesh apart, no exaggeration. You literally tear, like, he's got these little booby things on its edges, like these little appendages. I don't know what they do. But you have to destroy it physically in order to succeed. Next is little babies. Before watching YouTube videos about the art book and lore of Scorn, I just assumed these are some kind of other slave class like the mold men. You put them into these flesh mech suits, kill them, and put them in the juice press. I wonder what it tastes like. All of these reflect a certain theme. Exploitation. At every step of the game, every living creature you come across, even these things, which I've decided is called globs, every now and then, they don't even get to avoid your violence. You can step past them, but it's just weirdly quicker and easier to kill them. Anyway, it's like the entire culture of Scorn's world is based on a hierarchy. It doesn't even matter how useful you are or what else you can offer. As long as the person above you can exploit you, you have a place, even with the globs. Your first line of defense with them is this pneumatic or like hydraulic press thing. Reminds me of something very specific.
I think I'll take... Ooh, that one.
Do you see the pattern? I do. Every opportunity you have to take advantage, you have to, but this brings up the idea of moral relativism. What is okay to us now would have been unimaginable 100 years ago. Really simple concept. So what if the things we do as Scorn Guy is considered the norm in Scorn world? It's a horrible world filled with, very obvious pollution. Nothing naturally organic like plant life or wildlife anywhere. Anything that can be used has been used, even abused. Does that make you think of any problems we have in the modern world? Before I continue being political, this is what I mean by the game generally being black. Yes, you have the moral questions to achieve your end goal. Do you have the right to exploit anything and anyone? I say no, but I'm not a ruthless businessman. I mean Scorn Guy. Secondly, there is the gore. You could say it's gratuitous, but to me, it's a visual reinforcement of the themes you're dealing with in the first place. For those of you who've actually played it, you're asking, what about the parasite? What about the parasite? I do actually have a point about the parasite. It's a creature that latches onto you fairly early on in the game. It will hold onto you throughout the whole thing until he is removed, and then comes back. The interesting thing about him is that is the first Scorn Guy. This is why we get the weird time shift perspective from the beginning of the game. Look, see, that's the same building, and we see the same building again, but it's different, it looks decrepit, and it looks like it's broken down, yada yada yada. This isn't edited, that's what you see, but look at the environment, it's the same goddamn guy, same place. So is the parasite still trying to get to where he was before he transformed, before he mutated? Did the consciousness shift from one body to the next, seeing as the new Scorn Guy, despite being basically a newborn? He understands everything that needs to be done and how it all works, so I don't know, I think that makes sense. I'll get to that later. I'll make more sense of that later. Anyway, throughout the game, the parasite and Scorn Guy 2 Electric Boogaloo is his symbiotic relationship. The parasite feeds off of Scorn Guy while also being his inventory space. So, he holds your guns, he holds your little health and ammunition thing. Very useful. So, at the end, it's visibly obvious that the parasite is starting to take over, that you've been weakened so much, and that the parasite is becoming the primary life form. Your hands are unusable, as it continues to grow over you, and you have to physically hurt each other to regain control. It's fucked up. You free yourself of him for 5 minutes, you reach your goal, you've almost made it through. You can see the end. You're almost there, you're this close, and then... Before you reach it, the parasite wrestles you off the weird pregnant body thing, and you are fully absorbed. Do you actually deserve to reach your end goal? Do you think you belong wherever lies through there? Whatever heaven exists through that gate? I don't think so, to be frank. I felt like shit after playing it, because I don't like the idea of taking advantage of things that way and hurting them purely for self-gain. It's horrible. I prefer cooperation. I like working together. Scorn Guy, not necessarily you, but Scorn Guy, I don't think he deserves a happy ending considering his actions. The good ending would have been going through the gate to Scorn Guy, reaching whatever is heaven. But no, this is what he deserves. Number 2, players can't make their minds up. The reviews of this game, especially user reviews, are really fun to read. A lot of them tend to say, I uninstalled after 1 hour, or none of it made sense, or the puzzles were too hard.
How come there's not every 15 seconds the game pauses and freezes and tells me how to walk? Look, you guys are gonna make me part of a video essay.
It's an odd stance to take, because I liked it. And people are allowed to enjoy what they enjoy and not enjoy what they do not enjoy. But this might be one of the most polarizing games of the year. This game wasn't designed for the majority of people. A lot of reviews describe issues with gameplay, that it felt sluggish, slow, whatever. To me, the game felt less like a game, but more like an art experience. And excuse me for being pretentious, but if I were to describe this game to you, I wouldn't use video game terms like gameplay or anything like that. Instead, I would describe the atmosphere, how I felt, what I saw. It wasn't about how smooth it was, how fast it was, how slow the gameplay was. Ebb Software wanted to show me something, and the gameplay didn't matter as much. Well, it did in one way. Here's something I've noticed. A lot of reviews are saying it's boring and slow, and if you miss something, you're screwed. That's the point. Look at how the game plays out when you're playing. It is slow. It does take its time. Every animation plays out to its end, regardless which one it is. Every cutscene, done to death. Every enemy encounter, a test of your patience. That's on purpose. You're not supposed to run through the bloody thing. You are too supposed to take your time, much like the game. Let everything around you sink in. Ebb Software wanted us, as players, to treat it more like a stroll in a dense yet pleasant. I say pleasant. Imagine if you were in a pleasant forest. If you were in that world, you wouldn't want to stay there, but in a pleasant forest, you don't just run through. It's not a brisk walk, it's a stroll. You absorb everything around you. Take care to pay attention to everything in your surroundings. Give it a real chance. Like, take your time. Think. Don't treat it like, I don't know, Doom or something. I'm not saying Doom is a bad game, it's just a very different game. Treat it how it treats you. What did they say in Bible? Treat others how you wish to be treated. Quick cut-in. I thought it was like from Aesop's Fables or something, but no, it's actually something from the Bible. Like, hot damn. I am quoting scripture. Alright, the huffing of my own farts is over. Now's a chance to contradict myself. Ebb Software, you may have had a little too much faith in us. There's a certain expectation when it comes to video games. Fast-paced, exciting, even deep and enriching stories are being put into games nowadays. Here's some of my favorite examples. There you go. Look at that one. That's one. That's another one. And I'm glad you stuck to your guns, breaking the mold. You didn't follow the trends of a lot of other games and go with this rather repetitive flow that most games go with, of action, quiet, yada, 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 yada. Rinse and repeat. Anyway, instead, you took the decision to do things your way. And I respect that, but so many people didn't. You really wanted a specific audience, didn't you? This is going to be a very long section. I'm just in awe and in fascination of such a decision to alienate the majority of players who expect a video game to be like a video game. Fair enough, guys. Very brave. I salute you. I mean, I'm glad you decided to do that instead of some visually disgusting yet thematically generic and dull experience. Like, I want you guys to keep going. And I said the same thing on my old channel about what was it? I've forgotten the name of the game. It was done by the same guys who did Doki Doki Literature Club. It was just like this lost planet or something like that, or this abandoned planet or something. And I said the same thing. I want you guys to keep going because you guys got potential. Scorn was a much better executed game than that Forbidden Planet or Lost Planet, whatever the fuck it's called. So, well done. Keep making more and more games. Number 4, eroticism and death. This is another reason why the game made me feel weird and made it also feel so fucked up. Like, the world of Scorn, much like HR Giga himself, is obsessed with sexuality and eroticism. Unsurprisingly, whether it's the idea of reproduction, the physical form, even the intimate and romantic. There's some fucked up sense of sexuality that you just can't escape, and unfortunately I can't describe. The whole theme of Scorn is about the cycle of life and death. If my theory is right, it is the repeated birthing of a person, tied via some kind of spiritual umbilical cord and dropped from the womb, which is apparently called the Genesis Wall, which I need to get the art book. And while this is the beginning, death is something that is treated with similar regard. As a species, I feel like humans treat death and birth as big events. Birth is obvious, it's a new life, a new member of the family for you all to love. Yet death, it could be celebrated, mourned, questioned. If it's natural causes or murder, it is not treated lightly, because life is ultimately sacred to us, all of us, unless something is actually wrong with you. That's a whole other conversation. In the world of Scorn, life and death are treated like an afterthought. Despite the art book saying Scorn is set on Earth, nothing about it tells me I am at home. Nothing at all. I believe what makes Scorn such an alien experience is the sheer disregard that birth and death is treated with. How they are merely tools for the protagonist rather than a fundamental part of existence. And I really hate that. Like, I genuinely hate that. Like, nature is gone. All you have is a cold, dead, isolating world with no passion or care for anything that breathes. And this isn't anything different to most of you, but I love the countryside. I practically live in it. The cows, the sheep, the trees, and the flowers that surround my home. I can't imagine a world without it. More still, I can't imagine a world where people wouldn't care to preserve it or even feel the need to love it inherently. A world where things like that are forgotten due to neglect, that's a nightmare. You could even say it incurs my scorn. Alright, that's the end of the pretentiousness. That's it. Alright, to summarize this video, this game has inspired more feelings in my mind than I thought any game ever could. It uses its art style amazingly well with the atmosphere it was trying to convey. And then seeing what other people thought of it who didn't give it the same chance that me and other people did is disappointing, but it's to each their own. So I can't force them to see it from my point of view. I can make this video, make it public, have people try to understand, and I've got a lot more to say about it, but I didn't want to make it a massively long video as my first time back, you know? I just wanted to blurt it out. I didn't want to do anything too complicated. Anyway, Scorn deserves more praise than it's been given, but luckily there are other like-minded people that I find online that have their own unique interpretations, and that's really nice. I think Ebb Software really did something, much to the chagrin of those who disagree with me, but looking at the achievement statistics, majority who didn't even make it past the first puzzle. My brother in Christ, he didn't even give Scorn a chance. Anyway, if you haven't played it, try it, and if you have and given up, try again. Take your time. I'd say it's worth it, and if you have the patience and allow yourself to think about what you're seeing and feeling. Anyway, I feel like this was a whole mad tirade about something I myself didn't fully understand either, but maybe inane ramblings suit me, because maybe it does make sense. I can't tell. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know, because it's been a while since I made a video, and this one is not like one I've done before. I'm expecting criticisms, and that's okay, because I know this isn't a great script, but oh well. If you guys want a little more detailed explanations on my shared consciousness theory, let me know, unless someone else has already come up with it. Either way, thank you for watching. I have no idea what game I'll cover next. Originally I was going to make a video about Sniper Elite 5, but I found the game so unoriginal that it made me unoriginal, and I just couldn't, I don't know, I couldn't get myself to write something properly that was like maintained your interest. Anyway, medium. Mainly the use of like Beksinski and Giga's art styles and the game's differences in that same area. Anyway, I'm done. See? Inane ramblings. I called it. Anyway, goodbye, good night, good day, thank you, I love you. I'm gonna go play Crash Bandicoot. Bye bye.